Go on, I'll make a video. Let's go. Whoa, how's that audio? Down a little bit. All right, so let's have a fucking sticky beak, shall we? I'm going to clear some of this shit off, and I'm going to show you what I'm looking at because you guys all remember my thesis that is played out every cycle, where the support line from the previous trend, from the previous cycle, is where we capitulate through, which is where we can't get above in the future. The support line is where we capitulate through, where we can't get above in the future. Support line is where we capitulate through, where we can't get above in the future. Support line is where we capitulate through, where we can't get above in the fucking future. This red line is where we exit. Right now, it's at 112K. By middle of December, it's going to be at 117K. In January, it's going to be around 123K. These lines got drawn in. This lines got drawn in back in March 2022. We figured out that where we compressed into is actually our resistance line, from where then we find support on it, then we capitulate top. So our resistance line, compression line, is where we find support, which is where so we've even gone back further. And then now what I've found out in the past sort of year is that the top compression line, way before it becomes our support, actually starts at the top of the fucking cycle before. So it starts at the top. Comes through, becomes where we capitulate, where we compress into, which becomes where we capitulate through, which becomes the top. So I've drawn in a trend line that started back in 2013, which is now this one here. So now we can grab a trend line, and I don't really use, this is the only trend lines that I really play with that much, right? Now we can grab a trend line from the top, drag it through, find where we compressed into. So then eventually we're going to come down, find that one's not quite right. Hold on. What am I doing? Is that on it? Oh yeah, it is on it. So we've gone from the top of this cycle into where we compressed into. That marked where the bottom was, our support line. And then, so what happens now is we come up and get rejected off this red line. We come down in some sort of bear market. We capitulate through where we previously found support. And then we find support on a line that is created by our top compression line becomes our support. So my guess is that we're going to break through this line and find support. $40,000 Bitcoin in like end of 2026. I'll tell you what can do that is the Trump trade becomes an inflationary spiral where consumer confidence gets decimated. The housing market gets decimated. We get one negative inflation. If inflation starts creeping up, the markets are going to get absolutely slammed. So my strategy right now is I'm watching this red line. When we start to press against it, and I think between now and then altcoins are about to go ballistic. As we press against this red line, I'm going to start distributing, and I won't be buying back in until we come down and touch this red line in the future. So I reckon we're going to put in a bearish div on the RSI on the weekly. Our stochastic momentum is going to start spinning down. We're actually hitting the top of, I think I really like these channels that I've drawn as well, right? Midline back to the bottom, midline bottom, midline, finding support, midline, come back to one of the lines up to the top, come back, find support. I don't think we make a new channel on top of this. I think we've had enough parabolic growth that I think that the channels are done now. I don't see us going and forming another one of these. I mean, price would just have to go so high, $300,000 in 2025. Because this red line here is our resistance, I just don't see that happening. I reckon we might stay in this channel. I reckon this is our channel now. And so we could possibly see the price coming back down, capitulating through the support line from here and bottom of the channel, and then onto the onto this red line. So finding support in here, maybe double bottoming on that channel in the same sort of period. But I mean, so if this actually happens and we capitulate through there, this trend line now becomes our top, which means say we come back up to the top of this channel in the future, that means that we could be at nearly 900,000 in 2035. So that's huge gains. Imagine we go, back down towards sort of the 40s in 2026. That means in 9 years we do 2,300%. Sounds reasonable to me. I also think that our market makers are changing to the traditional finance players. And so, I reckon that if the price comes back down and hodls and ranges in here between sort of 40 and 60 for a while and builds a new base, that's the perfect time for the big money to accumulate. Big money only got the ETF approval not even a year ago. And so is this period through here enough time for the sort of market makers of the world to accumulate enough of the ETF that they want? Is BlackRock happy with how much Bitcoin they've got? I don't think so. I think they want this. And then they start to push the price back up. So that's my longer term thesis. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.